My next guest has firsthand knowledge of Hillary's conduct, serving as a Secret Service agent during Bill Clinton's presidency. Joining us right now is former Secret Service agent and author of Crisis of Character. A White House Secret Service officer discloses his firsthand experience with Hillary, Bill, and how they operate. Gary Byrne joining us right now. Gary, thanks very much for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you, Maria.
What is your most stunning recollection or most important theme that you're getting out in this book?
Basically, I wrote my life story, my book, to let the American people know the truth about Mrs. Clinton, that she's not a leader. And I state many examples in my book, Crisis of Character, where she displays this bizarre, strange, angry behavior, dangerous behavior in some instances. She's not a leader. And clearly this latest thing with her server backs this up. She has a problem with honesty. When the FBI director tells you that you've lied 5 times, that's a significant statement.
It's a significant statement, but he said multiple things that were pretty significant, I think a lot of people thought, and yet he ended his press conference and said no charges. Were you surprised? No,
not at all. Mrs. Clinton's husband, former President Bill Clinton, had just met with the Attorney General a few days before, somebody that he appointed. This is what I referred to in my book as the soft intimidation. And I actually saw an example of this back in the mid-'90s when myself and my co-workers were being forced to testify against President Clinton in the Monica Lewinsky scandal. My unfortunate claim to fame is I was one of the first Secret Service employees to be forced to testify against the president in a criminal case.
So why don't you connect the dots for us? Why do you think this is important as America goes to vote in the next president of the United States? Talk us through why you think some of the things that you witnessed firsthand would resonate and be important to the average voter out there.
So what I think it's important that they gain from my book, Crisis of Character, and some other information about the Clintons is basically their whole political history is leaping from one scandal to the other. And there seems to be 2 sets of rules, a set of rules for us and then a set of rules for the Clintons. Maria, if you or I were accused of what Mrs. Clinton was doing, we'd probably be in shackles right now in a prison somewhere.
Yeah. No, and I think, yeah, that came out certainly from the press conference, and I think a lot of people are questioning whether or not Jim Comey felt pressured. He didn't want to be the one to change the movement of the election. I mean, do you think that's what this is about?
You know, I'm not sure. I want to give the director of the FBI the benefit of the doubt, and there's still an investigation going on to the Clinton Foundation, so maybe there's something there. But clearly, this is not normal behavior. If that was anybody else, this is not the discussion we would be having. And I give you many examples in my book of Crisis of Character of the same type of behavior. They just seem to leap from one scandal to the other. The first thing they do is they blame somebody else, or they act like they don't really know what's going on, and then somebody applies this soft pressure, and then they get off.
Yeah. Well, obviously your book is a tell-all, and it's been an instant bestseller, so it's resonating with the people. And yet others are talking about you not having the access that you say you do, and perhaps not being in a position to say this. You want to tell us a little about your access during your time as a Secret Service agent for President Clinton?
Yeah. As a Uniform Division officer, my unfortunate claim to fame is I was the first employee to be forced to testify against the president in a criminal case. I was also I was subpoenaed 6 times, Maria, and eventually I was ordered to testify by Supreme Court Justice Rehnquist. So if I didn't have the access, then why did they seek my testimony? And a lot of the stuff I talk about in my book is actually sworn testimony, and the rest of it is firsthand knowledge and experiences. And a lot of these stories you have heard before in other books, but they were told by former Secret Service agents over free martinis and dinners, and they never came forward and put their face on it. I'm telling you what I experienced. My proof is in my sworn testimony, and this is what happened in my life and how it crossed the Clintons' path.
No, I'm sure it was difficult to tell the story, and I know readers appreciate it. Gary, have you heard from the Clintons?
No, I have not. Not directly. Basically, I've heard that they're applying pressure. They're blacklisting me from the other TV stations, and of course, they're folding to that pressure. Can you imagine the woman that wants to be the next president of the United States is taking time to squish a veteran and a former police officer for 25 years, squishing his First Amendment rights. It's just amazing.
Actually, it's also amazing that Hillary Clinton hasn't really spoken to the press much. I mean, the last press conference she gave was several weeks ago. So she doesn't feel the need to discuss this publicly. Gary, we'll be watching the developments. Thanks very much.
Thank you for your time.
Gary Byrne joining us there. Up next.